Hello, Oracles. Well, we've got some Tesla stock buying signals all over the place right now. Again, yesterday we discussed how the RSI is pushing down to that 30 level, which usually means oversold, which at that point indicates that some buying pressure could be coming back in. We also had ARK coming out, buying 132,000 shares of Tesla amongst their different portfolios. So this again, looking back at history, Cathie Wood has been pretty decent about timing buys and sells in the market when it comes to Tesla. She has been selling near the top and buying near the bottom. Obviously, her portfolio is not doing all her best, so thinking about the fact that she's been timing it very well and not doing well tells you how much you need to know about timing the market and how that does for your portfolio. So either way, that has been a great buying signal in the past. Now we also have the Fear and Greed Index, which right now is extreme fear range at 23. So again, when we talk about it before, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. So right now it seems like everybody is being extremely fearful. These are the times that you want to be greedy. So again, none of this is financial advice, but looking at these signals right now tells me that buying is what we want to be doing in the near term. So for me, I did my buys yesterday. I got myself up to 38 shares. I now have 71% of my portfolio in Tesla. And thinking about the fact that I'm 71% while the stock is depressed like this means that when it turns around and we go back up, that could easily become 90% because Tesla usually outperforms the market in times like this. Don't forget, yesterday the market was up over 2% and Tesla was down over 8.5%. So a quick rebound could be very good for Tesla to bring our portfolio sizes up. So right now it looks like Tesla pre-market is up almost 3%, pushing that $250 level again. I have a feeling we are going to come up and settle into that low $250 range for Tesla. Probably kind of sit there and wait to see what's going on. Again, the next big thing for Tesla specifically is the Twitter overhang. So we've got that court date coming up on October 17th, unless they come up with some sort of deal beforehand. Elon cannot sell any more shares until after Q3 earnings. They are in a blackout period right now, so Elon can't sell. So in case they do come up with a deal, or once the court case does end, if they tell Elon that he has to buy, he still cannot sell until after Q3 earnings. Now don't forget, Q3 earnings are on October 19th. We will be doing a live stream here on this channel. And now looking at other great reasons to buy Tesla stock right now, Scott had mentioned in the comments about, don't forget that we have those 20,000 vehicles in transit which are going to land in Q4. So we already had vehicles that were produced in transit in Q3 that are going to fall into Q4 numbers. So again, the timing of the quarters kind of screws things up. Tesla's just delivering. Bottom line is Tesla is delivering all the vehicles that they are producing. That's the only thing that matters. Just because they fall into one bucket rather than another doesn't make a difference. So it just makes a difference because it's going to pull the stock price one way or the other. Again, that's another great buying opportunity of, well, they're still getting delivered. Just because they weren't delivered last week doesn't mean they're not getting delivered this week. So they're getting delivered, so awesome for Tesla. And a great buying opportunity because going forward, these vehicles will be delivered and it's going to give us a great head start into Q4. And another great point that Robert had mentioned was the fact that this is great free advertising for Tesla. This is something that Tesla has done very well over the last decade, is keeping their name prominent in the headlines. So with a massive miss that they had from their record delivery numbers because they missed an arbitrary expectation number of deliveries means that they're now in the headlines again. And don't forget, no publicity is bad publicity in most cases. So Tesla's name is out there, whether it's for FUD reasons or not. Think back to what Elon had said about 2018. He's like, there was a lot of bad publicity coming out about them, but their sales kept on going up. We're in basically the same situation right now. Their sales are still going up. They hit record deliveries, but all the FUD is out there in the news. So hey, keep the name relevant, keep people seeing Tesla all over the place. People will ask questions about Tesla, and the more people ask questions about Tesla, the more information and knowledge they will get. And unfortunately, some will be false, but eventually they will find the truth when it comes to Tesla. And now when it comes to the truth and acknowledging Tesla, we all know that the government out there does not really talk about Tesla. They try to ignore Elon and Tesla altogether. But then you take a step back and you realize, who has government contracts? Well, that's right, Tesla and SpaceX. Tesla's got government contracts for batteries for their military facilities, and SpaceX has contracts with the government to be able to send astronauts to space. So sure, you know what? Maybe they don't say Tesla, maybe they won't talk about Elon very much, but they're still getting the contracts. They're out there and they're acknowledging with their actions that Tesla is the best and Tesla needs to be part of what the government is doing because they are proving that they are the best. And speaking about things that are being talked about quite a bit, I'm hearing quite a bit about Chicken Genius and what his price targets are. There was, Dave Lee was over on Twitter who was questioning his price targets. So Chicken Genius right now has price targets of about $120 to $140 in Tesla. Previously, before the split, he had a price target of $420. Now, we do know that he is interested in BYD. He's upset about a few things. He does play shorts in the stock as well. So whether this is an intentional pull down or not, I don't know. Dave Lee did end up questioning over there and say, hey, based upon all the numbers and the profitability that Tesla is seeing, how are you coming up with your numbers and your price target? Ken has yet to answer. I'm not going to get into the drama of all of that. But what I did end up doing was diving into the charts a little deeper just to look at those gaps, as I told you guys I would do. There is actually a gap that goes down to $137 that stems back to November of 2020, which is post-split from the first 5-to-1 split that we got. So again, gaps fill 9 out of 10 times. We do not have to pull down and fill that. I'm actually not even going to mention it again on here unless we do end up pulling under $200 in the stock. So at that point, I will bring that gap back up. But until we hit that point, I'm not going to mention it anymore. But just so you guys know, that gap is on the radar. Going further back, there's a lot of gaps that go even smaller and further way back. So again, gaps fill 9 out of 10 times. This does not have to fill, but based upon what Chicken Genius had said and based upon this gap, it's on my radar, far on the back burner, but for educational purposes, I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the fact that that exists. And no, of course, that gap does not stop me from buying what I did yesterday, and I do continue to buy going forward, and I still think that we have a lot of good green ahead of us right now. So looking at that number, if we do end up pulling down to that for whatever freak reason, if we do pull down to that number, it's most likely going to be due to a total economic collapse globally. And in that case right there, there's a lot of other things to worry about other than Tesla stock. But even at that case, we would end up turning around and Tesla would come out the strongest because they have the best financial positioning. But either way, based upon all the other numbers that we see right now, we are most likely going to be going up before we come back down again. Looking at the inverse head and shoulders pattern that we are on, we are now trending back up based upon pre-market this morning. So we have possibly created that head. So we're just going to kind of see where we trade. Most likely we'll probably trade a little bit sideways, some ups and some downs. For the next week or so is what my guess is going to be. And then we'll probably end up shooting back up again, probably going into Q3 earnings. Don't forget, we've got CPI and PPI data coming out on the 13th and the 14th of this month. So those could definitely weigh on the stock as well, because that's going to weigh on the entire macro environment, which is what we have discussed in the past. When Tesla finally does find that leveling spot based upon whatever fundamental news that they have coming out, the macro will end up moving that one way or the other as well. And so I looked back at my own history here on this channel, and I've been doing this channel for about a year now. My channel has been up and running for a long time, and if you guys want some great entertainment, you can go check out some of my older videos where I was working out. I had topless cooking videos, hilarious stuff back then, pre-beard, so you guys can check all that stuff out if you are really looking for some good entertainment. But I didn't really start to get into the Tesla portion of things until about 1 year ago. And right now we are over 6,600 subscribers. Thank you guys all so much for that. And when I look back, I remember a lot of people were asking me back then how many shares I had. And I gotta be honest, I originally was just afraid to tell people I didn't have a lot of shares. I had like 3.5 shares of Tesla. I was like, how could I possibly be taken as a serious YouTuber about Tesla when I've only got 3.5 shares? Granted, at the time, 3.5 shares was still 30% of my portfolio, but I'm like, I gotta do something. And the more I learned about it, the more I learned from you guys, the more I became invested in the stock and the company. And thanks to you guys, you built up my conviction just like I have helped you guys build up your conviction and give us the education we need to be able to invest wisely in this. And you guys helped me realize that everybody is at a different level and a different position. I talk to many of you on here all the time and how you thank me because of the fact that I don't have a lot of shares. So to me, that made a huge difference and that really meant a lot to me. So thank you guys for that. And now I'm at the point where I am at 38 shares. So pre-split, that 3.5 shares was about 10 shares itself. So I have gained 28 shares over the last year in my portfolio, which to me is a lot. So because of the fact that back then I was only investing $25 per week, and then I dropped it and I started making it about $10 per day into Tesla, and that has grown to where it is now at $25 per day. This is the power of dollar cost averaging, and this is why in the long term, historically, dollar cost averaging is the best way to garner the most amount of wealth. And the absolute best time to dollar cost average is in times like this when we have a suppressed market and a lot of PE compression, especially on stocks like a Tesla. So when we have this out there, your dollar cost averaging, the money you put in, whether it's $5, $10, $25, $1,000, that is going to buy you a lot more shares right now. And right now, it feels painful. Again, we're in extreme fear phase. Mentally, emotionally, you're like, I don't want to buy. Like, this is the time a lot of people emotionally are like, I want to sell because I don't want to see my stock continue to go down anymore. Can it go down more? Of course it can. You know, nobody knows what the future is going to bring, but there's a good chance that it's going to come back up. And the wisest of people out there have told us that be greedy when others are fearful. Right now, others are fearful. So your dollar cost averaging is going to net you the most amount of shares. Don't forget, you don't gain or lose anything in your portfolio until you sell. So if you sell right now, you have lost. That's a fact. Not to say that, I'm calling you a loser by any means. Just saying, if your portfolio right now is in the red and you sell, you have guaranteed you have lost profits. Simple as that. If we pull down further, just wait longer. In my opinion, that's what I am doing. So that's why I am waiting to see what's going to happen. Right now, I am red on Tesla. My cost basis is $265. So my goal right now is to buy more at these times wisely. I do have 7% cash right now, so I'm trying to build that back up to 10%, but I will still be continuing my dollar cost averaging, which will in turn bring my cost basis down even more. And then when we turn around and go green, that means it's going to be even more green because I have brought my cost basis down. That is my strategy. It has been working out well for me. And historically, that is why a lot of the most wealthy people out there say the exact same thing. Warren Buffett, that's exactly what he did. He dollar cost averages. That's how he became as successful as he is, amongst many other reasons as well. But that is why we want to do this. Thinking about your 401k, you're not going to go to your 401k and say, oh, stop investing right now. Most people don't even think about their 401k in these times right now. They're just doing it. Maybe if they do some of their own portfolio, they're going to do that and pay attention to it there. But most of the time, people aren't paying attention to their 401ks. And those are the times where you're actually going to garner the most amount of wealth, is because the fact that your money is going into your 401k during a time of the market that is suppressed. People who were doing it in 2008 and 2009 made out very well in their 401ks because they were still investing money at that time. So when it came out and all the stocks turned around, their entire 401k also turned around. And while I cannot give you guys financial advice, I can give you this advice, which is if you are emotionally distraught at the moment and you're kind of upset about the fact that the stock has pulled down as much as it is and you're thinking about potentially selling, just take a step back, do your own due diligence and research and say, why is it that you feel like you want to sell right now? Is it strictly because the stock price is down, or do you think it's because the company is not doing well? And if you cannot figure that out, maybe it's time to just step away from the market. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's what I have done for myself in the past. Not looking at your portfolio and doing nothing can sometimes be the best thing that you can possibly do. Just my advice to you guys on that front. So let me know in the comments below, how do you guys feel about all these buying opportunities and signals that we have right now? I know many of you had told me about all your buys yesterday. Where do you guys think we are going to go from here? Do you think we rebound strong? Do you think we sit flat? Are you going to continue to buy, or are you going to be waiting to see if we get another dip from here, or just kind of waiting it out to build up cash reserves again as well? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. If you found value in this video, consider sharing it with others. I also have a membership program. I share all of my price targets, production and delivery forecasts, and all of my valuation model depending on what level you choose to go with. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.